How's it going, YouTube? This is Sold Out. We're doing a video that was requested. Basically, I'm just going to go over all of the cards that are in the Annie deck and kind of just explain like what they do, okay? Link to the Annie guide on Metafy in the description, so go check that out. So let's start with the very first card, Gust. Actually, let me pull up there's another card that you can play in the Gust slot, which is Incinerate. And I'll explain why we're playing Gust over Incinerate. It's very important, actually. Okay. So these are kind of like the two cards that you can play in this sort of early game. I like to call them just like tempo switching cards. Like they kind of switch like who has the first unit on the board. Like if your opponent goes first and they play a card like, oh, Watchful Sentry, right? And they're going to move their sentry in, they're going to score a point, right? If this is Ravenbloom student, it does the same kind of thing, right? And then so they score a point, and then, okay, you go, okay, I'm going second. I need to put a unit on the board. I score my 1 point. Oh man, oh, but then they're holding, they go to 2, so they get to 2 points first. And that's like pretty important, okay? That's like a really important threshold, is like that 2 point threshold, because then when you get to 2, you can go to 4 points, right? I'm not going to go over like all how the point math works, but what you need to know is that the very first unit that they play is very important, and having a way to kind of get rid of that unit so they can't score is very important. So these are the two cards you can play in this slot. Just kind of like a card that is very cheap that you can play off of the Annie ability that prevents this first unit from like scoring and then holding. So you might be asking, okay, why are we playing Gust over Incinerate, right? Incinerate does pretty much the same thing, except it sends their unit to the trash so they can't replay it. And that's true. That is a reason to play Incinerate. The reason we like Gust is there's a couple things here. One, it is technically cheaper than Incinerate in terms of energy cost. So if they go in and you have a stack deck, you can stack deck, grab Gust, and then Gust the Sentry, just with the 2 mana you get from Annie. So like that's a pretty important interaction. But the more important thing is that if you Gust a Watchful Sentry, they don't draw off of it. And that like super matters, right? Because now instead of having like a card in their hand that's good, they have a Watchful Sentry in their hand, right? So that matters a lot. There's a lot of times where you'll like Gust the Sentry, and then the Sentry will never come out of the hand. They will literally be bricked on the Sentry all game. That happens like all the time, where you'll Gust Sentry, and then Kaisa will just never have a turn where they can actually like replay the Sentry. And then it's better into Ravenbloom student in like the Kaisa Ahri matchup. Because if you go Incinerate on a Ravenbloom, right, and they chain like any reaction, their Ravenbloom will go to 3 might, and the Incinerate won't kill it. So like that's a pretty niche thing. It's just like, oh, Incinerate doesn't kill it if they have like a spell reaction. But like Kaisa Ahri, if they go like Stupefy on your unit, right, or maybe Stupefy on just like something else, right? Like they just play a Stupefy, or they play like a retreat, or any sort of reaction spell, and their Ravenbloom goes to 3 and the Incinerate doesn't kill it. That like really matter. Like I cannot express that is like a game losing situation, even though it seems kind of innocuous. So you have to play Gust. There's just like they do pretty much the same thing, but there's a lot of situations where Gust is just better. And the fact that it's a reaction means it has like use cases against green decks when like they like walk in, when they go like, I'm gonna pump spell my guy, and then you go, okay, well, I'm gonna Gust in response, send their guy back to hand. Now you just ate their guy and ate a pump spell, right? Like that's really strong against like Ahri specifically, because Ahri you can like walk into their guy with like a Vayne. But you walk into their guy and they go, okay, well, I'm going to reduce your guy, and then I'm going to pump spell my guy, so my guy beats your guy, right? And you go, okay, well, I'm going to Gust in response, right? And then their guy goes to hand, your guy conquers, right? Like that's really powerful. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Gust. Is oh, and there's one other thing actually. Gust is really good going second. You know, before I was talking about how it kind of like switches the tempo. You don't really need that tempo switch when you go first, because going first, kind of point advantage, and like the tempo is always in your favor, like initially when you go first. So Gust isn't really that important. Gust really shines when you go second, because instead of your opponent having the first unit on the board, if you gust their guy, now your unit was the first unit on the board. So you're inherently kind of ahead of them. It doesn't seem that important, but like when you go second, like the number one thing you have to do in any deck is kind of find a point in the game where you can switch that point tempo, and Gust just gives you that ability to do that on like turn one. And then like you can just win games because you gusted their guy. So pretty important. Keep that in mind. You know, Gust good. Very good going second. All right, the next card we have is Fight or Flight. This card is kind of ass, to be honest. It's not that great. It's really good at kind of doing similar things to what Gust does, but you can kind of like do it against units that are bigger. Like if someone swings in with a Darius or like a Watcher or like anything like that, you can go, okay, well, I'm gonna off your guy. It's good against like ramp decks, being like, okay, well, I'm gonna send your Dead Bloom to base. It has like similar applications to like Rebuke. Obviously, it's cheaper than Rebuke, but not quite as powerful. It's kind of like a middle ground. I think this card is pretty good in like the mid game. Like early game, it's like objectively worse than Gust. So it's like if you kind of open this card, you usually just kind of send it to the bottom, you know, draw into another copy. It's a kind of card that it's a type of card you want like one of in your hand, because it's like versatile. You can like foff your guy, you know. It's pretty good at like if they have like exactly 2 units in base and they're like trying to go from 2 to 4, and they go, okay, I'm gonna try and conquer. Just go foff their guy. They don't go to 4 points. It's kind of like a cheap way to just like slow them down a little bit. But it has like a lot of use cases. Like if they go, okay, I'm gonna walk in to your sneaky, or I'm gonna walk over your Vayne. Okay, just gonna foff my Vayne, and then I can swing with the Vayne next turn. There's a lot of use cases for foff, but it is bad in a lot of situations also. So it's just kind of a card that you have to kind of play with, just kind of get a feel for when it's good. Generally, I would just say get rid of it if you open it, and then, you know, because you kind of want it in the late game to like get that final conquer or like slow down your opponent. Okay, next up we have Flash. This card is the best card in the deck. This card is effectively, it says move 2 friendly units to base. That can be 2 units at different battlefields, 2 units at the same battlefield. It says up to, so it can just be the 1 unit. This card is basically just like 2 Zanya's Hourglasses that you can play at reaction speed. Like this card beats battlefield removal, like Void Seeker. It beats combat, like if my opponent swings in with a Darius, I can just go, okay, well, I'm going to flash, and then I'm going to walk over your Darius on my turn. Like I said, it beats battlefield specific removal. So spells that say at a battlefield, they go, I'm going to Void Seeker your Vayne, or I'm going to Void Seeker your Kaisa, I'm going to Hidden Blade your Darius, I'm going to Hidden Blade your Vi. You just go, okay, well, I'm going to flash in response, and then move my guys back to base. It's particularly powerful like after you've conquered. Like let's say I conquer with the sneaky, I have like a merchant and a sneaky on the battlefield. They go, okay, well, I'm gonna walk over your guys. You go, okay, well, I'm gonna flash. You know, I basically just went +1 in that scenario, right? Like let's say I have these 2 guys, right? I go flash. So now instead of losing both of these guys, I lose the flash, and these guys are in my base. And then I can use these guys to conk next turn, right? So it's like, it's effectively just it's just 2 Zanyas basically, is like the way I conceptualize Flash. It doesn't beat Falling Star, and it doesn't beat Acathian Rain or like Singularity, but like that's okay. You can like play around those cards by just like not over committing into them, and then you can kind of play a little bit ignorant into like Void Seeker and stuff because you just have a card that just completely blanks it. Particularly good on Dreaming Tree to like draw a card. It's very good against yellow because it lets you dodge Hidden Blade. So like if you swing in with like Ride the Wind Vi, and they go, oh, I'm gonna Hidden Blade the Vi. You go, okay, Flash Vi. Vi is still readied from the Ride the Wind, so then you can swing Vi in again and kind of you don't like conquer both in that scenario, but you still conquer like one of them. And then like if you have like anything in base, you can use those units to like clear the other battlefield and like still win through Hidden Blade because you had Flash. Oh, it's good against Charm also. You can like use Flash, like if they charm you in, you go, okay, well, I'm just gonna Flash back because like I'm not ready, right? It's kind of a niche scenario, but like, and most of the time it's not even worth doing that, but you can, right? If they like charm you in, you can Flash. Yeah, just think about it as like a Zhonya's. That's basically what it is. It has some other like niche applications where it's like actually better than Zhonya's. Obviously, there's some situations like where it's worse than Zhonya's, but very, very powerful card. Like probably the best card in the deck. Next up, we have Ride the Wind. Hard to talk about Ride the Wind just because of like its use cases are so varied. It's very good at scoring points off turn. Like let's say I have a sneaky on a battlefield, or actually let's move it over here. Say I have a sneaky on a battlefield, right? And my opponent moves in their guy, and let's say I'm on 1 point here, okay? My opponent moves in their guy. I go, okay, well I'm just going to Ride the Wind, right? I'm gonna target this other battlefield. I'm gonna move it over. They're gonna conquer, but then this battlefield's gonna happen. We're gonna conquer, right? So now we were at 1 point, and now on our opponent's turn, we went to 2 points. The astute members of the audience will recognize that going to 2 points here is fucking broken, because now we're going to hold for our turn, right? If we go to 3, we have any way to clear this battlefield, we go to 4. So just in one turn, we went from 1 point to 4 points. Like the game is basically over because we had this Ride the Wind on our opponent's turn. Like anytime Ride the Wind lets you break this kind of, like it lets you get to an even point threshold, like 2, 4, 6, it's like super, super worth to do an off-turn Ride the Wind. If the Ride the Wind's taking you to 1, not worth it. Taking you to 3, not worth it. Taking you to 5, probably not worth it. You really want to hit these even point thresholds because then you hold and then you win the game, right? So very good for scoring off turn, very good for doing like big pushes with like a Darius or like a Vi or a Vayne, where you play the unit to base, you move it up, you Ride the Wind over, kill it both battlefields, conk twice, and then because the unit is ready, you can back it. Like Ride the Wind Vayne is like pretty good, right? Vayne enters ready, you move it up, clear the battlefield, Ride the Wind over, clear the battlefield, back Vayne. Now you have like Vayne in base just kind of chilling until next turn where she can do it again, right? So Ride the Wind, very, very powerful, good for scoring off turn, good for like ending the game. You can use it kind of like a FOF to like ride your guy back to base, but I would have a hard time recommending that you do that, except for like in super niche situations. Okay, next up we have Falling Star. No introduction needed. This card is broken. It does 3 damage to twice, however you want. This card is not as good in Annie as it is in Kaisa, but it is still very good when you are ahead. You do need to be ahead when you play this. Like if you have nothing in your base, nothing on battlefields, you can't play Falling Star, right? You need to develop like your big guy. Like you need to have like a Darius and like a Kaisa, or like you need to develop your big units to base, or at least have like a Kaisa plus like a Sneaky. Where the fuck is my Sneaky? You need to have like, if you have like Kaisa and Sneaky in base, then you can Falling Star, right? Because you have like development You just can't do it when you have nothing, because like then you're behind on runes, and like now you can't develop your guys, so it's like super awkward. So yeah, just as long as you're ahead, um, Falling Star is really powerful. It's a really great tool that like kind of just kills your opponent into the sun sometimes. So yeah, very good, very powerful. Kind of seals a lot of games up. All right, next up, Void Seeker. Also doesn't need introduction, but I will say anyway. Deals 4 damage to a unit at battlefield, draws 1 card. This card is very good. Annie gives you 2 mana, so as long as you pass on 1, you can play Void Seeker. There's a lot of situations where like going first, this is kind of like an auto win situation. Here, I'll just get the merchant out of the deck real quick. There's a lot of situations where you'll go like merchant turn 1, sneaky turn 2. So you have 4 mana, you move this guy up, you go sneaky to the other one. So you have 2 points, you have 1 mana up, you pass turn, you have 3 mana up. Now you have 2 units on field, Void Seeker in hand. This is like GG. Like if you open this, like GG go next. Like your opponent is like pretty much turbo dead. Because they push in anything, you go Void Seeker, right? Now you're holding with 2, you go to 4 points, you back both. Like you develop like a Kaiser or a Darius to base. You know, it's 4-0 right now. Like anytime you're 4-0, it's like good luck to your opponent, you know? So yeah, very strong. It's very good against like Kaisa, right? It's very good against like Noxus Hopeful, being able to like have a clean out to like 4 might units. This is kind of like a combo that people don't like to talk about. Is Kaisa clears everything that's less than 3 might, and then Void Seeker clears 4 might units. So, you know, Merchant, Sneaky, stuff like this, you go, okay, I'm going to walk over it with Kaisa. If they have like a Noxus Hopeful defending, you go, okay, well, I'm going to Void Seeker it, right? So very strong, very potent sort of like combo you have there. Comes up like pretty much every single game. Those kind of like might thresholds that you can beat. Anything else I want to say about Void Seeker? Draws you a card. It does cost power, so you kind of have to be conscious of that. You can't just be spending like tons and tons of power. So you kind of need to be conscious about that. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It just does 4 damage, right? So. All right, next up is the Sneaky Deckhand. This is probably the best unit in the deck. Sneaky Deckhand lets you play her from your hand directly to a battlefield that is uncontested. So going first, your best going first open is going to be like 2-drop into Sneaky, boom, boom. That's 2 points, right? And then like this is really hard for opponent to break. Like if I go like Merchant, my opponent goes Watchful Sentry, and I go Merchant up, Sneaky here. Like what is my opponent supposed to do, right? Like they can't walk in either. So that means they have to spend a card. And remember, at this point they have what, 5 runes, which is a decent amount, but they have to use their energy and their cards in hand just to clear my 2-drop. Which, you know, I mean, like I said, if I have Void Seeker in hand, if I have Flash in hand, I have Foff in hand, I have Gust in hand, right? Any of these cards shuts down their push, right? I go to 4 points. Very powerful. But even if they just spend their resources to out the 2-drop, right? Then now they can't develop, right? Because they just, like, let's say they did like a removal spell on the Merchant so they could walk in. Like that's a Void Seeker or a Beam or like a whatever, you know? That kind of puts them like behind. And then like we still even if we just hold with 1, we go to 3 back, we play like a Kaisa or like a Darius, right? Right now we have 6 runes, you know? 2, 4, 6. That's a Darius cleave over this guy. That's 4 points. Hold up Flash. Like that's a GG. You know? Like you can't win from that position. It's good going. Like this is a card that gets really good when it goes second. I don't think it gets. I think it's better going first, but it's still very good going second. Like a lot of times, I'll just side out like the Pouties or the Merchants when I go second and just go, okay, boom, turn 1 Sneaky, go to 1 point instantly. I just swapped point tempo, right? Because now they have to either contest the Sneaky or go here. They go to 1, we hold for 2, right? So now we got to 2 first. We're ahead of our opponent. Very good. Like I cannot overstate the power of Sneaky. Very, very good. But, like literally the best unit in the deck. Next one's Fading Memories. Not much to talk about this. It basically just kills gear. You just cast it on the Aurora, pass to them. The Aurora kills itself. Boom, GG. I don't side it into Hook. You don't really need it versus Hook. You can side it in versus Set to like you cast it on the Set's buffed unit. The temporary trigger kills their unit. If they choose to protect it, the temporary triggers next turn and kills it again. So it's basically just like a permanent way to like out a buffed unit. It's really good against like yellow set builds. It's pretty good against orange set builds, but orange set builds you can kind of just side in the Rebuke and it does like the same thing. So, all right. Next, I have these three cards: Vayne, Nocturne, Hopeful. They kind of take up like the same like slot in the deck. That's why I kind of have them grouped together here. The deck kind of has room for like one or two of these like 4 might, 4 energy guys. Generally speaking, I would rank them like Vayne as the best one, Hopeful as like the second best one, and then Nocturne as the worst one. I've been experimenting with doing like a one of Nocturne in the deck, which is like pretty cool. You can like hit it off a stacked deck, and then like it's kind of high rolly, but it's kind of funny. But then like worst case scenario with Nocturne, you like play it to base, go like cleave on it, and then like ride the wind up. It's kind of like a really shitty Vi, but it's not bad, like it's not bad, and it gives you some high roll potential. It's like a card that synergizes with Ride the Wind. It's not bad, not bad. Definitely worth experimenting with. Nox's Hopeful is kind of. Actually, I might put it like this. I think Nox's Hopeful might actually be the worst one. He's just slow, right? He's like cheap, which is cool. Like turn 2, turn 3, you go like turn 2. You play like a sneaky. You go like Hopeful to base, right? This would have to be like turn 2 going second if you have like 5 mana, but turn 2 going first, you go like a Pouty plus Hopeful to base is pretty good against Kaisa. But pretty much every situation, like these guys are just better because they're faster, right? You play them to base, and I guess Nocturne's not fast inherently, but it's fast if you like pair it with Ride the Wind. Vayne is very strong. Vayne, you play it, it's really good with Kaisa, right? How I said before, how Void Seeker outs 4 might units. Vayne does the same thing. So anything that's less than 4 might, you can out with the Kaisa, and then anything that's like exactly 4 might, you can kind of out with the Vayne, which is a very like really really nice synergy between these cards. And then Vayne, you can like return her to base with Flash. You can ride the Vayne is really good. Like if you play her to base, she enters ready, walk into a battlefield, clear, ride the wind over, right, and then back her. Like that combo is like legitimately very good. Like legitimately very good. It's pretty much just better than the Nocturne version. Like I don't know why you would ever play Nocturne over Vayne, except for that you can like get Nocturne off of stack deck or like off of a Candle or something, which is like kind of high rolly, but like it is something you can do. Like if you don't think if you think the difference between 5 and 4 might isn't that important, or if you really like the defensive capabilities, because like Nocturne resists Falling Star, which actually, now that I'm saying that, is like a reason to play this card. The fact that it resists Falling Star. Vayne kind of doesn't do that. So there's reasons to play Nocturne over Vayne. I'm not going to pretend like there isn't, but in terms of like offensive capabilities, Vayne is like pretty much just as good or better. There's things where like if they have like 1 unit here and no units over here, you go like in, conk, bounce, replayer, walk in, double conk. It's like 9 mana or like 5 mana to do that if she's already developed. If she's not developed, it's like 9 mana. But I mean, I've won games doing that where like I like go in, bounce, player, walk in again. So yeah, Vayne's good. All 3 of these guys are playable. They just kind of like pick your poison, Generally speaking, I'd probably say Vayne is the best. But they all do like similar, they're just like guys that you play, just guys. Next is Kaisa. Not much to talk about on Kaisa that I haven't talked about already. She's just a powerless 4 might that draws you a card. You know, going first, you can kind of just like play her to base. Going second, she gets really strong because she has the accelerate. So you have 5 energy going turn 2. So like if you go like turn 1 sneaky, turn 2 accelerate, walk over there 2-drop, that's a very strong play. So like a lot of times the fact that you can accelerate her will like keep your opponent from even like committing to the board because they don't want the Kaisa to walk over it. Anytime Kaisa, you can play Kaisa and just like conquer and draw. That's usually the correct thing to do. Because like, you know, why wouldn't you? You know, you just walk in and like anytime that she replaces herself, even if she immediately dies on the opponent's turn, like that's whatever. You know, you got your point, you got your draw. Like that is 100% worth it. Yeah, I mean, it's just she's just good. I mean, she's the best. Like, she's the best at what she does. You know, she's the best accelerate unit that like gives you like infinite cards. You know, you walk her in, flash, walk her in again, draw another card. You know, very good, very strong. And then Darius. What is there to say about Darius? He's big. You know, he enters. I will say the thing about Darius is that Darius, most of the time that you use Darius, it's going to be on 6 or like on 7 mana. You like play him to base, and then you go like stack deck or like cleave to like ready him, and then like swing for like 7 or like swing for 10 with cleave, right? That's going to be like 90% of the situations in which you use Darius, which is like totally fine. Like it's the same thing with Kaisa. Anytime you play him and like score a point, like 100% worth it, especially if you're like walking over one of their units, right? And then like you can just flash him back to base, foff him back to base, and then boom, he's, you know, he's gaming, right? He's super gaming. Anytime you can untap with Darius in base, you're super ahead. Like Darius untap in base is insanely powerful because you can go up, go back, right? Up and back, up and back, up and down. Very powerful. Very difficult for most decks to deal with. Is a Darius, like if you don't leave Darius on a battlefield, very hard to deal with him. So the 10% of the time that you're playing Darius, it's just going to be I scored to 4 points. I'm backing both of my guys, and then I'm playing Darius to base. If you ever play Darius to base, like you're on an even point threshold. Here, like I'll go over here. Like let's say you held the 4, you back this guy, you play Darius to base. Say your opponent's on like 2 or 3, like the game's over. Like you just won the game. Like it's so good. It's so fucking good. Because now anything your opponent does on their turn, let's say they go to 5, that's fine. I have a fucking Darius in my base, right? Because not only do I have a Darius in my base, but I have every single card that's in my hand. So now instead of developing the Darius, I can just develop a second Darius, right? I can develop a Kaisa, you know. I can kind of just, I can bait all this interaction with the Darius that I have already developed. Anytime you untap with Darius in base, it's GG. It's GG. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there was any other cards I wanted to talk about. I mean, this is pretty much every card in the deck. No reason to talk about Merchant or Sneak or Pouty. I mean, what is there to talk about? I mean, Pouty has Deflect. Merchant discards a card to draw a card. Rebuke returns a card from your opponent's battlefield or from a battlefield to hand. I think all these are like pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. That's about it. If you guys have any questions, I'm on Discord, Metafy, in the comments below. That's the Annie deck list. All right, that's about it. See ya.